Hello, 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 once again. Please let me know that you can see me and hear me. As usual, today's internet is not very good. It might happen that the stream will just abruptly end. I'm sorry if that happens. But let's continue and see where we get. Hopefully it will keep working. So, uh, as opposed to what I've said last time, I've done a little work off stream, very little, because it was the boring part of refactoring stuff to better shape. And I'm gonna show it to you. What have I done? First was refactoring the events just a tiny little bit. Mm, like so. I again removed this notation for one reason, which is I think it's really hard or impossible to remove or unattach the event using the anonymous method. So for that case, which is not a real issue now or might not even be in the future, but for the sake of it, I've just done it the usual way and transformed it into the standard event with its notation method. And the same with the other one, which is somewhere here. And that's just about it. Oh, it's somewhere in the calling, right? So that's the one of the changes. I tried to reduce the usage of static things. That's not that interesting. The Pathfinder is now non-static and needs to be instantiated, and it's used in the map. Sorry, the monster manager rather, where we instantiate the Pathfinder now and use its instance. So that's one static down. And a state manager is semi-static, or that's not really a change. But the map is transferred from its static properties to constants, which may be a little bit more appropriate, but loses the flexibility of changing it on the go. But I don't think I'm gonna want to change the map size or tile size at runtime. So I think that's okay. And the usage of these constants along the way. Yeah, and there's the other event changed. Just some minor thing. And in new images, I redraw the tower. Consider this a top-down view, so looking down on the top of the tower, and a little bit more fancier button. So that's all the little changes I did before the stream, just to clean it up a little. That's how it looks. when it goes. There's actually one fatal error bug. When we block the path all the way, the game crashes because it won't find a way for the enemies to go. That's one of the bugs I mentioned earlier that it's gonna happen. It's somewhere in the to-do list, but we are not going to bother with it now. We just know we can't block the way all the ways. Okay, and for today, I would like to finally start shooting from towers to enemies. Okay, let's go. So, what are we going to need? We've got a list of monsters, enemies, so those will be the targets. And we've got our towers placed on the tile map. For now, they are represented with a public enum saved on a tile, I believe, in this tile type. Might not be ideal because we would like to, or it might be okay. We'll figure things out on the go as usual. It might be for the inside the update. I was thinking if it's a tower type, it will ask for the closest enemy and fire at this one. And I think once we find the closest enemy from the list of the enemies, we will store it. Maybe, maybe not. So we don't have to like look for the closest enemy every frame. So I would just do it once and then test just it keeps being in range. And if it's not in range or it dies, only then we would search for the closest again. So during the firing, as time goes, it might not be always the closest, just at the time of acquiring a new target. So that's one thing we need to do. So we will need a method maybe inside the monster manager that we are looking for a new monster. And we need a way, again, if we are going with the path of doing this in the update of every tile being a tower, we need to receive those data. So how would we do this? Could be another event, but that's just one way of telling the maybe like a monster manager that we need a new monster. We need that monster data passed to that object. And I can't think of any way now how to do this. If there's something maybe called a callback function, but I'm not too familiar with this and I won't be able to implement it. I have to study that maybe for the next time. So another approach could be just calculating everything inside the game manager and going through the towers and assigning from here. It could work for now, and I'll re-implement it once I get the proper knowledge. So let's do it like that for now. Yes, that's gonna be the easiest. So the tile will need a target variable, which is not so great for like the base class tile, but I'm okay again with this for now. So I think it's gonna be a monster, and yeah, right. Okay, just do it like this. I'm gonna make it public so that the game manager can access it and set the target for the tower. Again, it's not optimal, but it's okay for now. So that's one thing we're gonna need. Another thing is obviously some kind of firing range for the tower and firing speed. And then we have to decide if we want it to like instantly damage, or are we creating a projectile that travels towards the monster. As step one, I would do just the instant damage, and then we add the projectile animation and stuff. So public monster, okay. Let's do the range thing. Gonna make it a float. Again, I'm not that happy that we are putting all these properties into a tile. It doesn't make sense, but it's the best I can do for now. I would have to like again make a tower child class from this probably and do it like that, which might not be that difficult in fact. So should I do it now? No, I'm gonna leave it for later. Let's just be dirty. Okay, where were we? Tile. Range. And something like a cooldown. Then a counter for the current cooldown. So inside the update, we're gonna reduce the cooldown. So if the tower is on cooldown because it fired, we're gonna reduce it by the amount of time passed. Like so. And right, that should be okay. And now for the target acquiring. We will have to first extract like every tower on the map. So I'm gonna make a method to do that. And we can actually do it just once because we can only add or remove towers between waves, not during the wave. So once we start the current level, the towers won't change. So I think I'm just gonna do a public list of towers currently on the map. Now we can either just scan through the map and fill in the list, populate it, or keep it updated when we are changing the tiles, maybe. So once we add a tower tile on a map, we can just add it into the list as well. And yeah, I think I'm gonna do it like this. It's gonna be easier. So if type is tower, towers at but now we need a tile reference, which is this. So if we add a new tower, we keep a list of them separately for easier access. So now we have a list of towers that we can use in the game manager. And we can call it something like, are we going to do like assign targets. And now we're going to go through the list of the towers. So that's gonna be map towers. That's the list we just did. And for each tower, we're gonna have to scan through the monsters and find the closest one. And for that, I'm going to make another method in the monster manager. That's gonna return a monster based on a position. So public monster and get closest monster. And the position is a vector. Right. And we're gonna do this by just comparing the distances of each monster. So I'm just gonna prepare a reference to the monster that we are going to return, and again go through the list of the monsters, which is called monsters. Monsters. And now we have to find the closest one. So let's say got a float min current min distance. We're gonna initialize it to a really high value. So is there some like a max value? Okay. And now we're just gonna compare the current distance from this to the monster. So first we need to get the distance. That should be easy. Something like and yeah, and it also needs to be in range, right? So that's another factor. Okay, do we have the range? I think we did the range. So that's the distance from my position and the monster position. And if that distance is closer than the current running minimum, we're gonna do stuff. First, we're going to update the minimum distance, and we're going to remember which monster that is. So that's gonna be like so. And right, in case there's none, so that the tower cannot shoot anything, we should return a null. It should be done like this. Or we can just, okay. Let's do it like this. Link. That's a fair question. We could. Just don't want to like maybe combine topics, but I guess we could. But for the like understanding how the algorithm is working, I would like to comment on each and every line separately, which could be done with link also, but we can rewrite it to link once we like figure things out first. So yeah, sure. But there are people that it's not that simple for them. So if so that's currently the closest monster. It doesn't say it's in range, but we can just do that like last. If main distance is greater okay, there's a problem. We are not providing all the data, so we should not just put in the vector but the whole tower information so we can get the range and stuff. Or it could just be a second parameter for now. Okay, let's do it like this. And if the distance is still greater than the tower's range, I'm just gonna again set it to null. Okay. So is this okay? Going through the monsters, getting the distance, comparing it, storing the closest one. Okay, that should be okay. And we're gonna use it there. So just gonna call it monster manager. Okay, we need the instance, which is monster manager. Get closest monster. First we need the position and then the range. Just gonna do a simple null check. To assign it. Okay, so this should assign targets to every tower. And now we have to call it. And I think we have to call it every update because the situation is changing with every frame, I guess. So we're going to update it inside the play state. And let me delete those commented lines. Okay, so we have acquired our targets for the towers. And now they can start firing. Also, we need to set the properties like the range and stuff. It could be done in a tile factory, I guess. So if the type is tile tower, let's set the range. So 64 is one tile. So let's do like 2 tiles maybe. Or is that? And it's gonna count from the origin, so that's in the middle of the tile. So that's like 1, 2 in a radius. That's okay for now. So let's say constants. Okay. Oh, I've changed it. Okay. Inside the map class. Plus tile size times 2. Okay. And the firing cooldown be like once in 2 seconds, for example. And I'm gonna do it like with a method. I could use the setter here, but it's okay. Because I want to also like set this property. And I don't think we need this now. So I'm gonna just make it a simple private variable. Okay. So here in the factory, let's say set cooldown 2.0. Will be 2 seconds. So the tower will fire every 2 seconds with a range of 2 tiles. Okay, so that should be all. We are not dealing with any damage values. Let's just insta-kill everything. And okay, so we've got the targets, and inside the update we can proceed with the firing. And now it gets really messy, as I don't think we should combine this stuff with the tower logic, so I will definitely want and need to separate those classes or just figure something out. So here we're dealing with the cooldown, and next we can proceed with the firing. So if cooldown left is less than 0, let's say, means it's ready to fire. We're gonna do so. So let's just kill the target, which is called target, and let me check the die method. It's public, that's all we need. I think I'm just gonna call this for now. And I'm gonna check if it's assigned. If not, then it's gonna do nothing. Which is not true, because now I would just reset the cooldown. And I don't think I can do it like so, so I'm just gonna have to null check manually. And we need to set the cooldown. So if the tower is ready and it has a target acquired, it just kills it and goes on cooldown, which is then reduced for 2 seconds. And grass tiles don't acquire any targets, so it doesn't matter. Yeah, all this logic is just needs to be separated. And let's check if inside the play state we need to call these updates. So that's gonna be another problem. Because we're checking for the tabs. I believe it's the map update, right? So first we move the monsters, assign targets, and then fire. But as I said, this causes many problems because of this. So we can either ignore it for now and just don't tap anything during a wave. And I think we're gonna do just that, just to test the killing. And meanwhile, let's think about how to deal with this. The obvious first idea would be just to create a new tile class that inherits from the tile. Let's call it a tower tile. And I think that will be the best solution. Let me just check that we haven't broken anything. Okay, now let's put one tower in the middle. Okay. Right. I'm thinking why it was shooting so late. That's because when building a new tower, it starts on cooldown. I think it should start ready to fire. So that's the set cooldown method, and I would say cooldown life 0. It will make it ready to fire immediately. Okay, now it wasn't firing at all. Let's try putting another one. Is it that the target acquiring method is not doing its job properly? Or is everything okay and I'm just not interpreting it very well? But some killing is happening. Okay. Let me double check the logic of target acquiring. It's possible that everything is correct. I'm just being paranoid. because I don't see anything wrong with this. So we should just add a projectile, and it will just visually tell us more what's going on, who's firing at what and stuff. But that's quite a lot of work. Right. Okay. But I think we need this anyway, so why not? Or I could just split the logic first. It might be even better, because that's really messy. So let me do this. Then the tile doesn't need that, that, or that. Do we have to re-implement the constructor? I guess so. Okay, cool. It worked. Now we need this. We need this. We need to override the update and use only the tower logic. So that should be all. And then inside the tile factor, we just need to create a proper class for the tile. So can we do a switch maybe? Right. Well, what I'm thinking is we might be able to get rid of this type inside the tile altogether and just replace it with the classes. So every tower type will be a new class anyway. Maybe. But that's for another day. Okay, so we need to differentiate by type which class we will construct or initialize. So the tile, let's do it just really stupid for now. So let's be constant with this. And if type is tower, let's do it like this. do it like this. And right, I'm just gonna have to like recast this. Oh, like this. Okay. And what's it not liking here? Okay. Again, this is not the cleanest way, but since we've got only 2 types for now, I'm okay with this. I'm gonna come up with a smarter way later. So now we have a different classes for the towers, which causes them to use their own updates, which is great. And now let's get back to shooting. And I think we need a projectile. Sure. It's that sweet MS Paint time again. Let's do it like 16 by 16. Okay. Okay. And now thinking about a bitmap, it's not gonna be transparent, right? So that's not what I want. So let me just quickly use a Photoshop instead. And it's gonna be a 16 by 16. Let's do a nice round. Okay. Projectile. And there it is. Okay. Let's do a class. I'm gonna put it in the tiles for now. I'd rather do it like so. Okay. So projectiles were inherited from sprite. We just need to draw the red circle. So it already has a texture, position, color, and rectangle, which we won't need. Okay. You need type. You need this. We need a position. Okay. I think it should follow a path to the target. It's not gonna predict its movement, it's just gonna curve a little until it reaches it. Okay, so let's use a private monster target. We need a event. We might need an event once it reaches the target. Okay, there's a plan. And in the update, we need to travel towards the monster. And we're also gonna need a traveling speed. So first we need to get the direction towards the monster. Direction will be a target minus position target position minus position. So that's the vector between them. We need to normalize it to get the unit vector, and that will be it. We just update the position. Right. And I'm afraid it's not gonna let me update the property, right? So we're gonna change the position by the direction times speed. That's how far, but we need to normalize also by time, just to be like frame rate independent. Is it working? Okay, cool. And that could be it, unless we are close enough to consider the projectile to hit the monster. And I think we could Just do it there. So we will need the length of this. So let's say it's, again, less than 5, a magic number. We will consider the projectile to be at its destination. So let me add a flag that it's done traveling or existing. And let's set it to true once it's close enough, and we can also return from this. You don't have to continue, but we have to let the game know that it's already hit the monster. And that's why I think I'm gonna use a method for this again. And I'm gonna create a new package for this, and I'm gonna call it projectile data, where we can store like the amount of damage the projectile will do to the target or any extra effects that it might have. But for now, I'm just gonna put down damage, which we will not be using for now. Okay. And I'm just gonna invoke the event. I use data, and on, let's go it on hit. Okay. And let's do just 1 damage for now. Or we could do like private damage. Perfect. Okay. Cool. Okay. Right. I was thinking now what to do next. We need to spawn the projectiles, assign the events, and also keep updating and drawing the projectiles. as well as getting rid of them. And I'm gonna all of that do like in the tower tile. Let's say each tower will hold a list of its own projectiles. And since there's no mechanic of losing the towers during the incoming wave, I think it's okay. So let's do a private only list projectiles. Let's call it projectiles. It's done shaded right away, so I don't forget. And what next? We need to load the texture somewhere. We do a okay. How are we gonna do this? So let's first prepare a method to fire a projectile. And we're doing this in the update. So instead of calling the die on the target, we are going to spawn a projectile. Okay. So let's add it to the list. But first we need to somewhere get the texture. So I'm going to load it once, so I don't have to reload it from the file over and over again. What I'm thinking is something like this. That let's just load it first. Is that right? Yes. But let's do it like this, I believe. That causes it, if it's now, it loads. But if it's already loaded, it won't do the right side. And I made it static so that the towers could share the image. So once one of the towers loads the texture, the others can use it as well. Okay, that should work, hopefully. So add projectile adds a new projectile. Why do I need on hit? I'm not saying I need it. It's just a path I've chosen for now because I want to transfer the responsibility to the projectile itself so it can just move on its own, and once it reaches its target, it's gonna fire the event that it's there. But you might be right, since I've got already the... No, I don't. Do I? Oh, I've got the reference to the monster, right? You might be right, I don't even need the event. Okay. That's a fair point. Thank you. I was overthinking this again. I might have some other ideas. Sure, right. So okay, let's simplify. Forget the event and let's just yeah, I need to fill in this monster. Okay. Projectile. So the projectile is flying, and when it's close enough, it's gonna destroy itself and the target. Okay, seems all right. Then back to the tower. So we need to spawn the projectile. Here, right? And let me rename it like fire projectile. So when it's ready from cooldown, so it's ready to fire and the target is acquired, it's going to fire and set on cooldown, right? The projectile needs to set the speed. Let's do like 200. And now we just need to get rid of the dead projectiles as well. Let's use the update. Let me just copy this. Yes, as I said, I'm not taking care of the damage amount for now. It's just insta-killing. And we should also update all the projectiles, right? So let's try this. And is this all? Could be. Right. Oh, we're missing the draw call. Yeah, right. Exactly. Guess we're gonna have to override the draw call then. It's drawing last, so it's on top of everything. Okay, that seems all right. Okay, let's try it. Okay, missed something. What's this? Get closest monster and tower in range. What's tower? We've changed the type, right? Right. So towers needs to be tower tile. And the other two, it's the same. Press one more. Okay. Right, it's again not cast properly. So, is it okay if I just cast it? Is it gonna be happy? Is it safe? I mean, as long as we know what we are doing. Right. It's just a warning that we are not using the damage. That's on purpose for now. Now thinking about the combined speeds of the projectile and the monster. If it's gonna be too fast with the current implementation, it might just go through. Okay. So seems we forgot something. Let's revise. Uh, so monsters are I think we now with the tower tile we are not calling the updates, right? We do. Okay. Okay, let's see. Seems like I'm not. Oh, I'm drawing the map. That's the tiles. That's the towers that should draw the projectile as well. And then the monsters. That should be visible. Draw. Draw. Does the base draw? It's the tile. And then draws the projectiles. That's okay. What am I missing? Cooldown stuff seems okay. Cooldown. No. Fire. We add a new projectile at the tower's position. She's okay. Texture. Target. And the target is not now. So that should be okay. And then we are updating all the projectiles, which is getting a direction. Is that okay? It should be. Target minus position. It's okay. If the length is short enough, so we are near the position of the target, we're going to set the projectile and target die. That's strange. Why aren't the projectiles spawning? Fire projectile. It's called here in the update, which is also called okay. So the towers are drawing. One of those simple mistakes. So should I debug? Assign targets, map update. I don't see anything wrong, but it's not working for some reason. That's a bummer. One thing could be that the range is not set. Is this not working? Range. Let me change this and do just turn and but that changes not so much. Oh, now I can't do it. Okay, but why? Okay. I'm sure that wasn't the bug that changes nothing. Nothing. That's frustrating. Is the cooldown set? Set cooldown. Okay, I'll see. I see it now. That's a stupid mistake. I've set the cooldown to 0, but I'm only reducing the cooldown if it's above 0 and only firing if it's below 0. So I'm right in the middle, so it's stuck. That's stupid. So let me just do it like if it's less or equal to 0. That's wrong. Okay. I'm sure many would say, hey, just debug it and you'll see it and maybe find it. But using else, let me think if it's a proper solution. Might be. Might be. I'll change it to else as well. So, okay. There are multiple bugs. Right. So first of all, we need to clear the target once it's dead. Obviously, it keeps firing, which is something I don't understand since the target should be removed, or maybe it's because it's keeping a reference, so it's still in a memory. And the other thing is why it's... Oh, right, now I get it. Okay, that's gonna be a toughie. We're drawing the tiles from top to bottom, and this is drawn with its particle at the time we are drawing this tile, and then we are moving farther, so it's drawing over the projectiles. That's bad. And another bug is I can create more towers while in play. Okay, so more work. First of all, we need to clear the target. Okay, monster target. If target is not now, let's say, and target isn't that. But how do we clear the target? I think I should clear it after every update because I'm gonna reacquire it anyway. That So I don't need this. And I'm just gonna do this. That's one of the problems solved, I believe. The other was the draw, which is gonna be a bigger problem. And there was one more, right? What was it? The drawing. It kept firing, which is solved by this. Okay, let's deal with the drawing now. We're gonna have to separate the drawing from the tiles. So I'm thinking we're gonna need to there are multiple solutions coming to my mind. First is maybe easier, but not so fancy. And that's just making the projectiles public and taking care of the draws separately from elsewhere after we draw them up. So let's start by this. Let's name it collection of towers in map. Create a collection of tile projectiles and draw them separately. Yes, yes, that's what I was thinking. Or you mean like a separate collection of projectiles? That was the other approach, but it would require a collective place for every tower to add to those projectiles. So I'm just gonna pick it from the other side. And how are we gonna do this? I think the map got the towers, right? So let's do it like there. We're gonna draw them up there. Then for that's gonna be a double for each. Okay. What's it called? Towers. Towers for each. And then again. No, it's projectiles. Projectiles for each. It's nasty. Draw. And let's remove it from here. So we don't need the ORI. That should be it. Where was it? Map. So for every tower, we draw every projectile. Simply method is to use select many. I am not aware of that. Feel free to provide an example. So, projectiles, tower select many. And that's instead of what? Okay, it's firing, but it's really slow and low range. Let's buff the towers a little. Sorry, I'm not getting the enumerable projectiles, tower select many thing. What does it replace and what are the benefits? Buff the range. And okay. Oh, let's see. Oh, I wanted to increase the speed also. But at least now we can see the projectiles are curving as they are chasing the targets. Okay. Something happened with the projectile. Oh, because they were all firing at the nearest. So this one gets past. Okay. Okay, cool. It's starting looking as a game. Finally. A little. Cool, cool, cool. Okay, this again took me a lot longer than I expected, but we got there. So I'm gonna at least mark the tower attack as a success. And the tower range indicator, I was thinking just drawing a transparent circle around the target, around the tower. That should be easy. But I think I'm gonna leave it for the next time as it's getting late. So, sorry for a few hiccups and a slower episode, but things happened and we are on a track. I think it's going very well. We are progressing. So again, let me know in the comments. Maybe what would you do differently, or what would you like to do next? What would you like to see me do next? How to make the game better, but there's still a lot of to implement. We will slowly get there. Let me know what's the best time, if the stream frequency is too high or you need more time to digest. And thank you for watching. Leave a like, subscribe if you haven't already. All that shameless plug. Thank you for today. Have a have a nice rest of the day or evening or whatever time it is. And see you soon. Bye bye.